Okay, so if you're distance learning at home, my computer ran out of storage, and so you might have a weird edit between the review problems that we did and the lesson that we're about to do now. I'll try to fix it for you, but if I can't, I apologize. So what we're talking about is double distributing. We just talked about how you can multiply these two binomials together and they make this trinomial. So just like we talked about here, where these two are opposites, if we multiply a number in, we can also take a number out or factor it out. These two are also opposites. So today, what you're going to get is this trinomial, and what you guys are going to write down as your answer are the two binomials that made it. So you'll get this trinomial. Your answer will look like this, 2 parentheses with an x plus or an x minus in it. So that's where we start on page 6 in our notebooks. Just kidding. That's where we start on page 8 in our notebooks, which means that we are skipping factoring by grouping. So on page 7, you can just write skip, because we're already kind of behind because of the day I was absent, and then I gave you the day to catch up. So we're skipping 7, and we're starting on page 8. I'm going to use some highlighters, and you might want to do the same. So if you think that you might, you should get out your highlighters now. She sits right there. Will you just put it on her desk? Thank you, dear. Thank you for waiting. Okay, so when you're factoring trinomials, you want to use the signs to guide you. So what we mean by signs is the plus and minus signs in the problem. Now, when you learned this last year, if you learned it, depending on what teacher you had, they told you, well, all you have to do is find the two integers that add to 14 and multiply to 48. Does that sound vaguely familiar? Yes, no? Hello? Yeah, thank you. So that's all fine and good if you're really good at factoring numbers and you're really good at like adding and subtracting in your head. But for half of you, that method doesn't work. This whole, we'll just find the two numbers that add to this and multiply to this, that doesn't work for everybody. So I'm going to teach you a different method. I want you in this note sheet to do it my way, and then when you go to do the quiz, you can do it whichever way works for you. So when we do it my way, the first thing that you do is you separate the second and the third number, and you want to make sure that you include the symbol on the last number. So you want to make sure that you have a plus 48. Then this is where that factoring that I have had you guys practice comes in. We're going to list all of the factors of 48. So we start with 1 and 48, 2 and 24, 3 and 18, 4 and 12, 5 doesn't work, 6 works, that goes with 8, and then 7 doesn't work, and 8 is already written down. The next step is you do whatever is in front of the number that you factored. So because there is a plus sign there, we are going to go through and add each of these factors together. So what I mean is we're going to do 1 plus 48. That's going to give us 49, and I write it here in the center. 2 plus 24, 26. 3 plus 18, 21. 4 plus 12, 16. 6 plus 8 is 14. Now we want to verify or see if we have the number that we need. The number that we need is positive 14. We are looking for a positive 14. So I go through the list that I made, and it's the very last one that I wrote down. So you're going to get questions that say, okay, what two integers multiply to 48 and add to 14? If that were the problem that you got, you would say 6, 8 or 8, 6. The order doesn't matter. So some problems are going to ask you for the two integers. And then other problems are going to ask you to write it as factors. So that means that this was x plus 6, x plus 8. So if we multiplied these two binomials together, like I just had you practice, they would give you this trinomial at the top. Are you feeling kind of okay about that? Okay, this is the method that we use for all of these, but your symbols start to change. So let's see what happens when our symbols start to change. We split the second and the third term. Then we factor 30. So I start with 1 and 30. Then I check 2. 2 and 15. Then I check 3. 3 and 10. Then I check 4. It does not work. I check 5. That works. It's 6. And we end because 6 would be the next number that you check. Now that you have all the factors, you do what is in front of the number you just factored. So we go through and we add these. So we're doing 31, 17, 13, 11. This time, though, we're looking for negative 11. We don't have a negative 11. We have a positive 11, so we need to do a trick here. And what we have to do is change the sign of every number. So this little triangle here is the Greek symbol for delta, and that means change. So this triangle that I draw is going to be my reminder, I had to change my symbols here because these two things did not match exactly. So I go through and I change the positive 11 to a negative, the positive 5 to a negative, the plus 6 to a negative or a minus 6. And now it matches. So to make that a negative 11, these numbers needed to be negative 5 and negative 6. So if the problem is asking you what integers would you use here, your response would be negative 5, negative 6. If the problem was asking you for the factors, it would be x minus 5, x minus 6. You guys hanging in? Is that a yeah? Okay, let me walk you through the next one. So zoom out. All these examples at the top are different. I forgot to circle that one. Okay, step number 1 is I want you to make sure that you can identify what you're multiplying to and what you're adding to. Because you do have a quiz question that asks you, what are the numbers supposed to multiply to and what are they supposed to add to? So check right now. I'll give you like 15 seconds to make sure that you know. About 10. So I'm writing on my problems just as a reminder. This middle number is always your add. The third number is always your multiply. It's always, always that way. Okay, step number 1, split the terms, factor 24. Split the terms, factor 24. Give you about 20. $10. So I'm writing up my factors. This time, your symbol is a subtraction. So that means you need to subtract each of those factors. So you do 1 minus 24. That's going to give you a negative 23. 2 minus 12 is negative 10. 3 minus 8 is negative 5. 4 minus 6 is negative 2. And we're looking for a positive 5. This is close, but not quite right. I need a positive 5 and I have a negative 5, which means that I need to change this. So I'm going to draw in the delta saying I changed it, and I'm going to go through and change the signs. So if I change this to a positive 5, that means that the 3 needed to be negative and the 8 needed to be positive. So if the problem asks me for the integer, I would put negative 3, comma 8, or vice versa. You can do 8, comma negative 3. If it asks you for the factors, you're going to do x minus 3, x plus 8. Is this making sense so far? Okay, I'm going to have you do some whiteboard ones, but I just want to mention something really quick. So I know a couple of you guys are doing this quiz right now, which is fine, but because this is the end of the day, you would be better served to change this class to a distance learning class and watch the videos and just fast forward through what I'm saying and do the quizzes at home. Do you guys understand what I'm saying? I don't want to have to wait to assign you the quizzes so that you're not doing them while I'm trying to teach you. If I'm going too slow for you, distance learn and fast forward through what I'm teaching you. Does everybody understand? Are you sure? The second thing is, I'm always going to give you time to do your quizzes. You will have, I promise you, enough time at the end of the period to finish your entire quiz. So that's why I don't want you spending our instructional time doing the quiz. Okay, on your whiteboard, I want you to write what these are supposed to add to. On your whiteboard, you're writing, for example, for what are these integers supposed to add to? You got about 10. 5. 3. 2. Okay, show me. If you don't know, hold up a blank whiteboard. We're waiting. We're still waiting. We're going to turn to dust. Okay, lovies, I am concerned for you because the only thing that you're looking for is the position. What number are you looking for? The middle number. What number is in the middle? Negative 15. It's the same for every single one of these problems, and I've written it down for every problem. Next question, what do these integers need to multiply to? You have 10 seconds. What do these integers need to multiply to? 10. 5. 3. 2. Okay, show me. Excellent, negative 54. Okay, now you're gonna do the entire process, and in approximately a minute, I'm gonna ask you what integers add to negative 15 and multiply to negative 54. So go. I'm going to be walking around while you guys are working. I'm going to be verifying that you're listing out all of the factors and subtracting them and doing the method exactly as you see me do it on the screen. You got about 45. Yes, that first number will always be positive. About 30. $20. $10. Okay, on your whiteboard, you're writing the integers. You're writing the two numbers that multiplied to negative 54 and added to negative 15. You got about 5, 3, 2. Okay, show me. Okay, so this should be positive 3, negative 18. This should be positive 3, negative 18, because you had to minus your two factors. So 3 subtract 18 gives you exactly negative 15. You don't need to change anything, so that is what you use. Okay, now write it on your whiteboard as factors. So write it as these parentheses with the x's. So you just gave me the integers. Now I want you to write it as the factors. That's this guy. Roughly 10. Five, 3, 2. Okay, show me. X plus 3 times x minus 18. Okay, we still have 35 minutes in this class, and we're going to be done in roughly 8 minutes. I'm going to have you do 4 of these problems on your whiteboard, and then the rest of the period will be for your quiz. So the first one that I want you to do is 8. The first problem that I want you to do on your own is 8. If you hate my method and you do it your own way, that's fine. You're welcome to do that. But you better be getting them right. I'll do the problem on my paper, and then I'm going to walk around to verify that you guys are doing yours. Okay, you have roughly a minute. Make sure that you're writing the binomials on your paper too. I'll make that clearer once we're done. Looks like you need roughly 30. About 10. So I don't need you guys to hold it up this time because I can see what you're doing. So I'm going to put up mine just so that you have something to compare yours with. Make sure that you are writing the binomials on your paper as well. It's not enough to just write -4 and -9. You also have to write your binomials because remember, you're going to have questions that say, what are the integers? And then you're going to have questions that say, factor the trinomial. This is the integers. This is factoring the trinomial. Okay, next one that I want you to try is, let's go 9. Wait, I lied. Let's go 10. There's no need for that heavy sigh like you're being tortured. Come on now. Okay, you're trying 10. Let's go about 30 seconds. 20. $10. Okay, so we did not have to change the symbols on this one. It was a +4 and a -7. The last one that I want you to try, and this one I'm going to have you write on your whiteboard just your factors, so you'll just write what I have highlighted in green, is number 2. That's the last one that I'm going to have you do as a class, is number 2. It's got very few factors, so you only need like a minute max on this guy. So you're writing your answer on your whiteboard for this problem. It's our last problem. Yeah. Sure. $20. $10. About 5. $3. 2. Okay, show me what you're thinking. Uh-oh. So don't erase. This is the most commonly missed trinomial that I've ever given for kids to factor. And this is part of the reason why I suggest that you use my method, because if you use this method, you never get them wrong. If you're just doing this in your head, I bet you put +1, +6. You have to go through and verify that your factors actually add to what you need them to add to. So just really quick, Carly Ann asked to look at number 9. So if you have a +x, what you're really looking for is that they add to 1, because that's just 1x there. So you go through and you subtract them, and I get a negative, which means that I have to go through and change these all to the opposite signs. So this one was x -4, x +5. Does that help? Yeah. Okay. So you guys now have the rest of the period to do your quiz. I'm sure that 25 minutes is enough. I'll be walking around, so if you need a little bit of extra support, just stop me and I'll answer questions for you.